yet. It's okay. You are live. So we are live. On Facebook, actually, in both
Okay.
pages,
Oh, now I see.
we are testing it, but at the same time, I've decided to go live. This is the first time doing the StreamYard. And
For Helen.
every,
We did a few before,
right,
but for some reason, today has been.
It was interesting. We were supposed to go live with Lale, and somehow it was not working.
And my internet's been cut out. Thank you, Claro. Like literally most of the day it's been off, or it comes and goes in like 5-minute spurts, which doesn't really help when it comes to broadcasting. So then Helen jumped in and got the StreamYard account, and I sent her the backgrounds in those slow moments when I did get any sort of connection, and she's figuring it out on the fly, brave soul that she is. But we're having some tech stuff, which is really interesting because we're talking about being us without hiding, which involves technology, which involves connectivity, which involves all of this being willing to be seen and being willing to be heard. And literally, I have turned into the head-cutting monster of the universe, just going, okay, be space, be space, you know, be space.
And how much we are actually, yeah, and how much was that space?
So puck and pod me.
Yeah, puck and pod, but at the same time, a lot of times I found for me, I'm stuffing all those emotions. I'm ready to cut people's heads off, but at the same time, I'm like being nice and proving how nice I am and still hiding. But today I was also in a raw mode because the technology was not cooperating. And I was, it's interesting. I was not mad at technology. I wasn't mad at anybody else except myself that I cannot figure it out. Which is kind of like, I did the radio show.
I feel like right now.
Yeah, I like that.
But it worked for you with the radio show. You totally got the radio show. You know, but you were cool with the radio show.
Yeah, the radio show is wonderful. And I was talking about how much we lie to ourselves because the topic was, are you a liar? And this is actually the biggest lie that we cannot do.
Do you really want to step out of hiding or not so much?
Not so much. And that's again another lie. I am out of hiding. I've been doing Facebook Lives. I've been doing radio show. And you've been doing too. And yet somehow creating the technology messes. So how much are we truly willing to receive and be and function in the world without hiding? So what if we destroy and uncreate everything? Everything I'm talking about, all the programming, all the AIs, all the shit that we've created so far with technology, and actually
let it AI, artificial intelligence.
Yes. And just allowing us to be who we are without hiding, without lying, without creating the problem so we have to overcome. Just saying.
Yeah.
And now that I let it out.
No need for mad cow, cunt cow, faggot bitch. You, me. Oh my God.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So how much are we unwilling to be the monsters and at the same time being monsters with ourselves? Wow.
Thank you, actually, for bringing that up, Helen. That's huge. So first of all, everything that's brought up and is still bringing up, and everywhere it's like swirling and twirling inside of me, like almost like Jekyll and Hyde, like, you know, that, everything that is, wow, I'm willing to destroy and uncreate it all. Nobody else can.
Nobody else, no, just us. right and wrong wouldn't be a talking pot on known first person.
Yeah.
And what if we actually allowed ourselves to be whatever we need to be? How fast it would have just released itself without even being a problem.
Yeah.
But how much of
Yeah.
that problems that's been created, actually the energy of it's a problem, it's not working, oh my God, I cannot do that, rah, rah, rah. And all that energy, the turmoil, it's like the hurricane. Yesterday, was it yesterday? No, Monday, when I had my birthday, Rachel and I went to the beach a couple of hours away in Michigan, Warren Dunes, which was gorgeous. And when we were there was a hurricane in Chicago that I got a call from a friend
Oh,
of
just a slight whisper of consciousness saying you might want to get out of town for a little while.
yeah, we just drove. Weather was perfect on the way there. On the way back, we stopped by a grocery store, or actually like a fruit stand, picked up some fruits. While there, we were told in 20 minutes the winds are going in a hurricane range, so they're closing. So we got out of there and drove. There was slight rain while we were driving, some wind, but it was not definitely hurricane. When we come home, my whole backyard was in shambles. The umbrella was broken, but we were fine. So how much of that turmoil we actually create in our lives so we can prove how powerful we are. But at the same time, when it's truly count,
Oh, damn.
we are not there. We actually let the things settle when it's real disaster. How much awareness do we have, and how much we are not allowing that and not trusting ourselves and lying to
How much are
ourselves?
we like the eye of the storm? That's
Yeah, oh, I
brilliant. You know,
love
when I was
the
a
eye of
kid
the
growing up in Houston,
storm.
yeah. So when I was a kid growing up in Houston, I remember we had, oh my God, I mean, there's always, not always, but there are periodically really massive hurricanes that come by, and you know, there's all these warnings and stuff. And this was our first one because we don't have hurricanes in Israel. So I grew up in Israel. Hurricanes are, yeah, whoever heard of a hurricane or a tornado? They just don't exist. We don't have things like that there. So we get to the Gulf of Mexico. We're here, you know, in Texas, in Houston, and hurricane country. You know, there's always something going on. And there was a massive one. And I remember we had in our home, we had these big glass windows, and they kept warning that you have to tape the windows. It was the first time that we were really in this storm mode, and we did. We bought all of the trauma and the drama and all the warnings and everything else. We taped up everything. There was masking tape all over those windows. I remember that. And I remember it being windy and rainy and stormy, and suddenly everything just became calm and sunny. And they had these warnings, and I must have been like 11 or 12 maybe. And there were these warnings: don't go outside. It looks like it's all over, but don't go outside. We're in what's called the eye of the storm. And I was like, what the hell is an eye of the storm? I had to, you know, figure that out afterwards. So the storm goes around in a circle. Everything else is swirling. Everything else is just going crazy. But if you're willing to be that eye, if you're willing to be that center, it's calm, and there's space, and there's sun, and there's anything and everything available. And out
And
on the
then
outskirts, yeah, people are reacting and acting and whatever. But when you're willing to be that eye, it was amazing. And
it's
then the
amazing.
storm came through again after a few hours of calm, like maybe an hour or two, I think. I was a kid. I don't quite remember. Time looked very different to me at that age, but it was beautiful. And that stayed with me about being the eye of the storm.
Exactly, because I was in the eye of the storm in Florida, much older. And it didn't last hours, it was just a few minutes. But the power of the eye of the storm, it was a hurricane that hit Indian shores in Florida, which is near St. Petersburg. And it was amazing. I remember the mayhem that was going around, and then suddenly that quiet. But that quiet was so powerful. There was like, you could feel the electricity. I could feel it on my skin. And you're right, there are infinite possibilities in that eye of the storm. In that quiet, there was more power than I ever experienced up till that moment. And it was almost like I could be and create anything I liked. So how much we're avoiding the storms, avoiding being in the eye of the storm, being the eye of the storm, just because it's a problem.
Being that
Or we
powerful,
decided that,
that potent.
yeah, or to be that powerful, to be that aware and create so much. Because that's where you cannot hide from anything. The light is so intense. It's almost like that on a stage when the beam of light and you're that in the spotlight. Yeah, so our test I think was pretty good. I
Yeah.
think we did good. It works.
Yeah. And I will say my internet is choppy because I hear you, and then I think that I can speak. Your picture's frozen, so I can't see your expressions or anything. But I see a frozen picture and I can hear you. And I'm responding to when I think you're pausing. But then I think there's some sort of delay or something because I end up interrupting you. So I'm sorry.
And I think it's the
But
same
yeah,
with me.
this.
But at least we did it.
Uh,
And now we know it's
at
working.
least we did it. And
And
I
it's
will
about
also say something very interesting. As an adult, a few years ago, actually, after moving to Guatemala with one of my metaphysical teachers here who has passed away, before I found access, I was doing stuff with crystals and tapping and names of angels and all sorts of different kinds of things. And she would constantly refer to me as a, what was it? Wow, it kind of left my head, but it was, like a force of nature. She would call me a force of nature or a storm. So, but it wasn't like celebrating your potency or your willingness to show up or the energy that you be. It's more like almost like a disruptor, which is actually really cool because I disrupt or I'm chaotic to whatever the status quo is for whatever kind of generally happens in a day-to-day world or quote unquote reality. And you know what? I went to the wrongness of me for many.
Yeah, many years. I get that. And you're frozen now.
Yeah.
And
So what if we'd be able to claim and own that fullness, that joy, that exuberance, that glory of who we be, and be willing to flow in the world, being that eye of the storm with ease, joy, and glory.
yeah, and what if it's not what if it's actually it's not a wrongness. It's a strongness. How much are we actually judging our strength, our power as something that is wrong? Because other people couldn't deal with that. I remember, like exactly like you, I was called pretty much a hurricane a lot of times. It's like, oh, here is a Hurricane Helen. And what if it is what's required in that moment? Not just for me, but for other people as well. So what if we stop hiding, stop pretending how small we are when we are actually the just being, the infinite being we are? Just saying.
I love that.
And we'll see you soon. I guess we'll be doing interviews.
Wow.
Eventually.
Yeah. Oh, yes. So we should say we're to unhide, to unhide the tools of being, to unhide us, to unhide other facilitators who are absolutely glorious and amazing. Though the first ones we have scheduled don't typically hide. But they're contributing to coming way beyond hiding and to inviting more people to the tools of being you. So the tools of being, just being. I mean, it's so interesting because it is such an enigma for people. Like, what is being you?
Yeah.
We're so fixated on doing, we're so fixated on proving, we forget to be, which is really how we showed up on this planet, you know, as little kids, being us. And somewhere we took on everybody else's perspectives and points of view and thoughts and projections and whatever, that we forgot to be. And yeah, thank you for that, Helen. A Friday, Dr. Dane is having a class in what's afternoon for us. And you can go to accessconsciousness.com/yuck and join it, because it is rare for Dr. Dane to do an intro class at the price that is. Yeah. And there is so much yuck up in everybody's universe that it is time to de-yuck. De-fuck, you know, just get out of all of it, all the fuckity yuckity muckety crap, including the technology shit that we've been pulling. So I will be there in that evening class with Dr. Dane. Yeah, total yuck. But the thing is, we are not that yuck, and we keep sticking ourselves in that yuck. So invitation, in case anybody would like to play with Dr. Dane, that yuckity thing no longer has to be part of any of our lives, you know, like, and more of us, if, you know, I just got this like, oh, wow, it just made me cry. Oh, what if more of us would be willing to be that eye of the storm, that potency, that willing for anything to be destroyed so that something else could be created around us? And yet, if more of us would be willing to just stand up and shine, how many more like islands of eye in the storm would be around, where there would be more of that potent, electrifying, joyful, exuberant spaciousness to be? Yeah, just not one little compacted eye, but lots of eyes shining everywhere. And what would that be like?
Kind of like melt all the storms. So there is not going to be any destruction, just the creation and generation.
Well, you were reading reference materials today, Helen, and it was the section that you picked out was about wherever there's creation, there is destruction. In order to have something new show up, you have to let go of the old. And not necessarily having to have pain and suffering with change. So what if change could come with ease, joy, and glory? Yeah. What would that be like if we'd be willing to stop resisting and begin opening, softening, melting, so that everything can begin to flow with more ease, more joy, more possibilities for everyone.
Exactly. So we'll see you soon. Love you all.
Yeah, and hopefully we'll be getting all of these tech things out of the way like pronto. And we've got lots of amazing Being You certified facilitators to play with and share with and learn from and be inspired by. And yeah, that's going to be an ongoing adventure for the next few weeks. So how does it get even better than that?
Yeah, and you can join us for the classes, free and paid, by choosing more for you, where we both co-facilitate or individually facilitate different classes.
Or Dr. Dane facilitate.
Or Dr. Dane facilitate. See you soon.
Yeah, or
Bye-bye.
anybody that go to Helen?
Yeah.
Helen?
Yes, I'm here.
What was the website that was shared? What was the website they shared yesterday? beingyouadventures.com or something like that?
I think so. I think
Was that
so.
where people can find Being You classes? Okay, so check out also accessconsciousness.com, look for Being You, or beingyouadventures.com to be able to find more playful, amazing people who are putting up invitations to Being You and what else is possible.
Exactly.
Thank you, guys. And thank you, Helen, and thank you, technology and internet and everything.
Right. Bye.